My name is Larry Adler. I'm a consumer for the Boston Healthcare for the Homeless program. Me and some friends of mine would like to talk to you about a problem that homeless people have. Before I say too much about it from my standpoint point of view, I'd like you to listen to them.
My name is Joanne Guarino. I am 62, and I was homeless off and on for 30 years. And now I've been housed probably, I want to say 6-8 years maybe.
My name is Warren Magee, and I am currently housed in Jamaica Plain. I was homeless for 6 years.
When I was homeless, I lost an eye.
Being homeless, I encountered people being rude.
I've been stabbed.
My biggest challenge was when I had to sleep out on the streets.
I've been raped, like, numerous times.
Me being in a power wheelchair, you have to find outlets to charge your chair up. Spent many a night sleeping in an MBTA station.
I've also been to prison. Part of my, going for drugs or booze, whatever I had to do to get what I needed to get.
I got through it. By the grace of God, I got through it.
Housing seems like the end point, the goal.
Patients spend so much time trying to access housing. Our care teams spend so much time helping people through housing applications.
Life on the street is difficult in ways most people can't even imagine. When you're getting housed, when you've lived on the street, sometimes for years, it solves a lot of problems.
It's like magic when housing is available.
The moment I found out I was getting housing, to be honest with you, I thought it was a prank. I wouldn't even lie. I thought it was a prank. I thought somebody was pulling my leg because I had waited for so long, and then I was gonna go see the apartment. Honestly, I think I was beyond cloud nine. Truthfully, I did.
Getting people into housing, I think, is just mandatory. It is what needs to be done. However, I have come to realize, and I would urge people to remember this, that housing is a necessary but not a sufficient condition for ending the problems that folks have.
Everybody thinks that it's over when you get housed. No, that's where your problem begins, I know.
I got my apartment on March 14th of 2016. I've been living there now for a year. And the first 6 months that I lived there, it felt like I was starting all over.
When I got my first house, I had these big picture windows. I stayed in that house almost 9 days. No curtains, no blinds, nothing but the bare floor.
You can't sleep, and you're just crying. You don't know why you're crying. And you don't even feel like taking a shower. You don't want to do anything. The people upstairs are cooking and they're banging on the door saying, I got rice and beans or whatever. And you're like, I don't even want to eat. Don't answer the door. I just get to that, place where you really don't want to be.
My buddy Larry noticed one day. He said, Warren, what's wrong, man? What got you down? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like the walls are closing in. He said, my brother, you just hit what I like to call being housed and being depressed at the same time.
Really, I sat one time in front of a refrigerator and started talking and didn't realize I was even talking to the refrigerator. When I did realize, I thought I better go to a psychiatrist.
When you're homeless and you finally get a place and you're here, this is point A, and they take you and put you over here in point X, the place that you're not familiar with. It like the depression just starts setting them.
A lot of folks in Boston, when they're housed, like in other parts of the country, are going into housing that is scattered throughout a community.
Usually way out of the area where they were used to being on the streets.
You're on your own, alone. You may feel isolated. You don't know whether your neighbors will accept you.
People, when they move in, are sometimes leaving behind a really strong and important network.
You're like, oh my God, how am I actually going to get through the day? I don't have anybody to talk to.
The camaraderie that comes with the streets is all gone, and you are alone.
You've had many losses. You've lost your context. You've lost your routines. You've lost, the familiar way to get to your team in the clinic. And you're in a new situation with other problems. How do you get a picture ID? How do you open a bank account?
All those life skills that you need now to be housed and take care of things, you don't have those anymore.
So when you've been out in the streets, you don't practice washing dishes and writing checks. You don't even have checks. And if you do, they're somebody else's. They're not yours. So I should laugh at that.
I would get a call from someone who was really upset because they couldn't turn on the TV, because the last time they'd had a TV, it was changed the channel, and now he has a sophisticated clicker and he has no idea what to do.
It's really important to understand that even being in a safe place by yourself can be terrifying. Some people can't sleep, or else they sleep all the time. Some people can't eat. And you really lose all hope. And many people reach the point where they feel it would be better off just to die. I've seen how desperate the suffering can be, but I've also seen people get completely better.
Part of the message here really is people should be aware that this is a possibility, that depression will get worse.
Not everybody gets depressed when they get housing, but many do. And if you can recognize it, it's much safer.
It's important for people who've been depressed and recently housed to have a supportive program in place where you have providers and case managers visiting you in housing and checking up on you to make sure you're taking your meds. Do you have the meals that you need? Are the bills paid?
But when you're placed in housing, don't claim victory and say we're moving on to the next person. This is now someone who needs to work with a supportive network of services, social services, health services, community services.
Counseling, meds, peer group support.
For all of us as human beings, you need that human connection. And even though you get into housing, if you don't have those supports in place, it can be very, very isolating.
Once we place people in housing, we really are obligated to make sure that works well.
Primary care doctors and behavioral health clinicians and caseworkers, community health workers, peers who are helping people move into housing just need to be aware of this possibility and need to let people know how to reach out for help.
Depression is common, normal, and it can be treated. So please don't suffer alone.
It's okay to ask for help when you feel like everything's coming at you at an alarming rate.
And I had to come here and talk to somebody about it because I thought I was losing my mind.
Let someone help you, show you that everything's gonna be okay. And that's how I feel now, that I've overcome that barrier and I know everything's gonna be all right.
I'm just asking you to take that small little word, pride, from right here and move it right here. Hold out your hand and ask. Guess what? Somebody will grab it. This is all you have to do.